There's a plain brown bottle hiding in your bathroom cabinet right now, and it probably cost you about $1. Tonight, pour a little of it into your toilet tank before you go to bed, and by morning, it will have quietly gone to war on stains, mold, and bacteria you can't even see. That bottle is hydrogen peroxide, and what it can do around your house is honestly a little wild. So grab yours, and let's get into it. Number 1. It erases the rusty rings hiding inside your tank. Lift the lid off your toilet tank and take a look. If you see orange streaks, brown crust, or a chalky white buildup along the walls, that's mineral scale and rust from your water supply slowly baking onto the plastic and porcelain. Here's where hydrogen peroxide earns its spot. It's a mild oxidizer, which is a fancy way of saying it releases oxygen that attacks and breaks apart that grimy buildup. Pour about half a cup into the tank tonight, let it sit overnight, and the peroxide goes to work loosening the rusty gray gunk that's been collecting where you never look. In the morning, a quick swirl with a soft brush and a flush sends most of it down the drain. It won't fully dissolve the most stubborn, cemented-on hard water scale. Nothing gentle really does. But for the everyday buildup, it's a cheap, low-effort reset for the part of your toilet you're supposed to ignore. Number 2, it wipes out the mold and mildew breeding in there. Your toilet tank is basically a perfect terrarium for mold. It's dark, it's damp, it holds standing water all day long, and nobody ever opens it up to check. That's exactly the environment mold and mildew love, and over time they'll coat the inside of your tank in slimy, dark patches. Hydrogen peroxide is a proven antifungal. That burst of oxygen it releases is toxic to mold spores and mildew, breaking them down at the cellular level instead of just smearing them around. Pour it in, give it time to sit, and it'll knock back the colony that's been quietly growing in the dark. The bonus? Unlike chlorine bleach, peroxide doesn't fill your bathroom with harsh, lung-stinging fumes. It breaks down into nothing but water and oxygen, so you get the mold-killing muscle without gagging every time you walk past the toilet. Number 3, it kills the bacteria causing that lingering smell. You scrub the bowl, you spray the air freshener, and somehow that faint bathroom funk still creeps back a day later. That's because you've been masking the smell instead of killing what's making it. Odor doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from bacteria feeding and multiplying in the water and on the surfaces of your toilet. Peroxide targets those odor-causing bacteria directly. Instead of covering the smell with a floral cloud, it eliminates the microorganisms producing it in the first place. Treat the tank and the bowl once or twice a week, and you attack the problem at its actual source. The difference is real. A masked smell fades and returns on a loop. A deodorized toilet actually stays fresh because the tiny factories generating the stink aren't there anymore. It's the difference between spraying perfume on a problem and cleaning it up. Number 4, it deep cleans the bowl and the gunk under the rim. The tank is just the beginning. The nastiest real estate in any toilet is that hidden ring of jets underneath the rim, where germs, grime, and mildew build up out of sight and drip down every time you flush. Pour about half a cup of hydrogen peroxide straight into the bowl, then use your brush to spread it up under the rim. Let it sit for around 20 to 30 minutes so the oxygen has time to fizz through the buildup, then scrub and flush. It lifts away the crud, disinfects the surface, and brightens the porcelain, all without a single toxic fume. If you're staring down a set stain, sprinkle a little baking soda into the bowl before you scrub. The mild grit gives the peroxide something to grab onto, and together they'll cut through marks that a normal brushing just glides over. Number 5, it whitens filthy grout without the bleach fumes. Look down at your bathroom or kitchen floor and follow the lines between the tiles. That grout probably started out white or light gray and has slowly darkened into a grimy brown-black. Grout is porous, so it soaks up dirt, soap scum, and mildew like a sponge and holds onto it. Hydrogen peroxide has a natural pH close to neutral, which makes it safe to use on grout, and its gentle bleaching action lifts that discoloration out of the pores. Mix it with a little baking soda into a paste. Work it into the grout lines with an old toothbrush and let it sit for around 10 to 30 minutes. Then scrub and rinse. You'll watch years of built-up grime lift away and your floors brightened by a couple of shades. No renting a steam machine, no eye-watering bleach cloud filling the room. Number 6, it destroys shower and shower curtain mildew. Your shower is a mold factory in disguise. It's warm, it's soaking wet several times a day, and it barely dries out between uses. That's why you keep finding those creeping pink and black spots in the corners, along the caulk, and up the folds of your shower curtain or liner. Spray hydrogen peroxide straight onto the mildewed spots. Let it sit for around 10 minutes so the oxygen can do its thing, then wipe or gently scrub it away. For a fabric or plastic curtain that's gone yellow and spotty, soaking the worst areas in a mix of equal parts peroxide and water can bring it back from the brink. It's an antifungal that won't fade the color out of everything it touches the way bleach does, and it rinses clean with no chemical residue left behind on a surface you literally stand naked in every day. Number 7, it makes blood stains literally vanish. This one feels like a magic trick the first time you see it. Nick yourself shaving, get a bloody nose on a pillowcase, or find a spot on a kid's shirt. And blood is one of the hardest stains to get out, because once it sets, most cleaners just smear it. Here's the wild part. Blood contains an enzyme called catalase, and the second hydrogen peroxide touches it, the two react, and the peroxide erupts into that dramatic white foam. That fizzing isn't just for show, because it's oxygen violently breaking the stain apart and lifting it up out of the fibers. Pour a little peroxide directly onto a fresh blood stain, watch it bubble, let it work for a minute, then blot and rinse with cold water. On light-colored fabric especially, the stain often disappears completely, like it was never there at all. Test a hidden spot first, since peroxide can lighten some dyes. Number 8, it lifts red wine and juice stains. You spill a glass of Merlot on a cream carpet and your stomach drops because you already know that stain is about to become permanent. Before you panic, reach for the peroxide. Wine, grape juice, and other brightly colored spills are exactly the kind of stains peroxide is built to demolish. Its oxidizing power breaks down the pigments that make the stain visible. A popular combo for carpet is mixing roughly 1 part baking soda with 2 parts hydrogen peroxide, working it gently into the stain, letting it sit for about half an hour, then blotting it up with a clean cloth. Because that reaction attacks the color molecules directly, it can pull up a stain that looks like a lost cause. Just remember to spot test an out-of-the-way patch first, because that same color-lifting power that erases the wine can also lighten a bold carpet dye if you're not careful. Number 9, it erases yellow sweat stains from white shirts. We've all had to retire a perfectly good white shirt because the armpits went yellow and crusty. Those stains are a reaction between your sweat and the aluminum in antiperspirant, and regular washing just doesn't touch them. Peroxide handles this beautifully. Mix roughly 2 parts hydrogen peroxide with 1 part dish soap. Spread it right onto the yellowed area and let it sit for around 30 minutes to an hour. The peroxide breaks down the discoloration while the soap cuts the oily residue underneath, and then you toss the shirt in the wash like normal. For a lot of people, this is the tip that saves an entire drawer of ruined white tees and dress shirts. Instead of buying replacements, you're pulling shirts back into rotation that you'd already written off for pennies per shirt. Number 10, it brightens dingy whites in the laundry. White laundry doesn't stay white. Over time, your sheets, towels, socks, and undershirts drift into a tired, grayish, yellowed version of their former selves. Most people reach for chlorine bleach, which is harsh, smells brutal, and can eventually wear out your fabric. Hydrogen peroxide is the gentler alternative that still gets the job done. Add about a cup to a load of whites along with your normal detergent, and it works as a natural brightener, lifting stains and knocking out that dinginess. As a bonus, it helps freshen the washing machine itself while it runs. It's a green swap for bleach that skips the fumes and the fabric damage. And because peroxide is already the active ingredient in a lot of the pricey oxygen laundry boosters on the shelf, you're basically getting the same brightening power straight from the cheap brown bottle. Number 11. It disinfects the single germest thing in your house. Quick question. What's the dirtiest item in your entire home? It's not the toilet. Study after study points at the humble kitchen sponge. That damp food-covered thing you use to clean your dishes is a 5-star resort for bacteria. Hydrogen peroxide can sanitize it in minutes. Soak your sponge in a mix of about half peroxide and half hot water for 10 to 15 minutes, and it goes after the nasty stuff hiding inside, including heavy hitters like E. coli and salmonella that can trigger food poisoning. Rinse it out, wring it dry, and you've got a sponge that's actually clean instead of one that's just spreading germs from dish to dish. Do this regularly, and you'll also get more life out of each sponge since you're killing the bacteria that make them turn sour and start to stink in the first place. Number 12. It sanitizes cutting boards after raw meat. Cutting up raw chicken, beef, or fish leaves your cutting board coated in bacteria you absolutely do not want ending up in your next meal. Soap and water help, but for real peace of mind, peroxide takes it a step further. After you've washed the board, spray it down with 3% hydrogen peroxide until it's good and wet. Then let it sit for about 10 minutes while it fizzes over the surface. That reaction is the peroxide hunting down and killing the lingering bacteria left behind by the raw meat. Rinse it well and towel it dry, and your board is genuinely sanitized. It's food safe, it leaves no toxic residue, and it breaks down into water and oxygen. So you're not soaking the surface, you prep food on in harsh chemicals. For anyone who handles a lot of raw meat, this is a simple habit that seriously cuts your risk of cross-contamination. Number 13, it cleans inside your fridge safely around food. The inside of your refrigerator is one of those places that quietly gets gross, sticky drips, forgotten spills, and the invisible bacteria that come with storing food for days. But you're understandably nervous about spraying strong chemicals right where you keep what you eat. That's what makes peroxide perfect here. Spritz it around the interior, the shelves, and the drawers. Let it sit for a few minutes to disinfect, then wipe everything down. Because it breaks down into nothing but water and oxygen, there's no lingering chemical film left on the surfaces that touch your food. The same trick works on the outside of the fridge, the handles, and even your dishwasher. It's a non-toxic way to disinfect the appliances you least want to douse in bleach, the ones that are all about keeping your food safe and clean in the first place. Number 14, it dissolves burnt-on grease from your pans. We all have that one baking sheet, the one with the brown, baked-on scorch marks that no amount of scrubbing seems to touch. Before you throw it out, give it the peroxide treatment. Sprinkle baking soda over the burnt-on spots, then add enough hydrogen peroxide to make a paste, and let the whole thing sit for a while, even a couple of hours for the really bad cases. The peroxide and baking soda work together to break down and lift the carbonized grease and food that's fused itself to the metal. When you come back and scrub, that layer of gunk you thought was permanent wipes away far easier than it has any right to. It's an oddly satisfying rescue mission that saves your bakeware, your ceramic dishes, and your glass stovetop from an early trip to the trash. Number 15, it deodorizes retainers, mouthguards, and toothbrushes. If you wear a retainer or a night guard, you know the truth nobody talks about. After a while, that thing starts to smell because your mouth's bacteria set up shop on it every single night. Drop it into a glass filled with equal parts hydrogen peroxide and warm water and let it soak for around 30 minutes. The peroxide cleans off the bacterial buildup and knocks out the funk, leaving it fresh instead of faintly horrifying. The same idea works for your toothbrush. A quick soak in peroxide disinfects the bristles, which are constantly picking up germs of their own. It's a cheap way to keep the things that go in your mouth actually clean. Just rinse anything thoroughly with water afterward before you put it back in. The peroxide is doing the sanitizing work in the soak, and you don't want to swallow it. Number 16, it softens stubborn earwax. This is one people rarely expect. hydrogen peroxide has long been used as a home remedy for softening and clearing out impacted earwax, and there's real logic behind it. When wax builds up and hardens in the ear canal, it can muffle your hearing and cause discomfort. A diluted solution of equal parts 3% hydrogen peroxide and warm water, applied as just a few drops with your head tilted, bubbles gently against the wax and helps soften it so it can work its way out. A few drops a couple of times a day over several days is the usual approach. Now, a genuine word of caution here, because this one's about your body. Talk to your doctor first and skip it entirely if you have ear tubes, a possible ruptured eardrum, or any ear pain or infection. Used the right way, it can help, but your ears aren't a countertop. Treat them carefully. Number 17, it makes diamonds and jewelry sparkle again. That ring that's lost its shine isn't necessarily dull. It's probably just wearing a film of soap, lotion, and skin oils that builds up in all the little crevices and behind the stones where you can't reach. Dip a soft toothbrush in hydrogen peroxide and gently scrub your diamonds and hard gemstone jewelry, getting into the settings where the grime hides. The peroxide helps break down that oily buildup and can knock out bacteria clinging to the metal. Then you rinse the piece in clean water. The result is a stone that catches the light again, like it did the day you got it. No jeweler visit, no expensive cleaning solution. Just be smart about it and keep this trick to hard stones like diamonds. Soft or porous gems like pearls, opals, and turquoise should never take this bath, since they can be damaged by cleaners. Number 18. It wipes out pet urine odor and stains. Any pet owner knows the special frustration of an accident on the carpet. You clean it up, but days later you can still catch that sharp urine smell, and worse, your pet keeps returning to the same spot because they can smell it too. Hydrogen peroxide tackles both halves of the problem. Its oxidizing action breaks down the pigments, causing the stain, and neutralizes the compounds responsible for that lingering ammonia odor instead of just covering it up. Blot up as much as you can, apply the peroxide, let it work, then blot again and let it dry. By actually destroying the smell at its source, you break the cycle that keeps drawing your dog or cat back to the scene of the crime. As always, test a hidden edge of the carpet first, because that stain-lifting power can lighten some carpet dyes right along with the mess. Number 19, it rescues houseplants from root rot. Here's one that surprises even seasoned plant people. When you overwater a plant, the soil gets waterlogged, the roots can't breathe, and harmful anaerobic bacteria and fungus move in. That's root rot, and it silently kills more houseplants than almost anything else. Hydrogen peroxide is basically water with an extra oxygen atom, and that's the whole trick. When you water your plant with a properly diluted solution, the peroxide breaks down and releases that extra oxygen right into the soil, into the exact spot your suffocating roots are starving for it, while also killing off the rot-causing pathogens. A common mix is roughly 1 part 3% peroxide to a few parts water, poured into the soil in place of a normal watering. It won't fix a plant that's already too far gone, and delicate species can be sensitive, so go gently and start small. But for a plant on the edge, it can be a genuine lifeline. Number 20, it gives your seeds a serious head start. If you've ever planted a tray of seeds and watched half of them do absolutely nothing, this one's for you. Older seeds especially can be slow and stubborn, and many rot in the soil before they ever sprout. Soaking seeds in a diluted hydrogen peroxide solution for around 10 to 20 minutes before planting does two things at once. It softens the tough outer coat of the seed so water can penetrate faster and kick off germination, and it kills the surface fungal spores that would otherwise rot a seedling before it breaks through. Gardeners report it can noticeably speed up sprouting and improve how many seeds actually make it. It's the same reasoning behind sanitizing your seed trays with a diluted peroxide solution. It wards off damping off, the disease that can wipe out a whole tray of seedlings overnight, a tiny step at the start that saves a whole planting. Before you go peroxide crazy, 3 fast rules. First, Stick to the standard 3% hydrogen peroxide from the drugstore. It's the safe, effective concentration for everything here. Second, never mix it with vinegar or bleach. Those combinations create fumes you really don't want to breathe. And third, keep it in its original dark bottle because light breaks peroxide down and turns it into plain water. One more note for your toilet tank. Use it as an occasional deep clean rather than leaving it in there 24/7, since constant exposure can slowly wear down the rubber flapper and seals. So that little dollar bottle turned out to be one of the hardest working things in your whole house, from your toilet tank to your carpet to your garden. Give a few of these a try tonight and see it for yourself. If this was useful, do us a favor and hit that like button, share it with a friend who needs it, and subscribe with notifications on so you never miss what we dig into next. Thanks for watching.